What is happening? Did y'all see Selena Gomez is
Oh
distraught.
God,
I don't know if
Jesus.
y'all yeah, she's feeling
Um,
bad for
Yeah,
all the criminals they're deporting back home.
mm,
Hey
yeah.
Brad, did you catch any of the new press secretary talking?
I did. I
She
caught a
was
little bit of
good,
her
man.
talk. Absolutely.
She
She
was
totally
good.
different than the KGP, and yeah, absolutely, dude. I think it's a fresh breath to the country, and yeah, I look forward to hearing more of her.
Well,
You know.
I like when the reporter lady was like, "So, have any of these people being deported? Are they? Any of them have criminal records?" And she's like, "Well, they came into the country illegally, so they're
I
all
know.
criminals." It's like,
I know.
and she
The
even said it right that we've been so programmed over the last few years that you just ignore that crime. You know what I
right.
mean?
yeah.
Like that's not even a crime anymore, but yet it's called, illegal aliens.
Yep. I
And
Yeah.
know.
that was the point she kept trying to make to the reporter that I get what you're asking, but technically, yes, they all have criminal records because they came into the country illegally. I mean, why is it so hard to understand?
Right.
But it is true
Yeah,
what
dude.
it is true what she said about how they you just don't look at it like that really anymore, because they've
Well,
done a good job of programming society.
what do they call them? They won't call them illegal immigrants on that side anymore. They
No,
call them
Undocumented.
undocumented. Yes,
yes,
it's not
Yes.
yes.
illegal. It's
Yes.
See,
undocumented.
Right.
see, and that's what I'm talking about. That's how they've done over the last few years to
Right.
kind of reprogram the way that you think about that.
Hmm.
They took that whole term out of it of being illegal, when
Right.
technically it still is. You know, it's funny, but
I did see where she was saying that whether you're like on TikTok or you're a YouTuber or whatever, as long as you cover like day-to-day news, you can apply for a pass, for a press pass to get into the White House, or
yep.
to cover this administration.
Yep, I was just about to bring that up about her. That she said if you do not work for a news organization that already has somebody in there, you know what I mean? Like we don't need more of y'all,
Hmm.
basically.
Right.
But I think that's awesome that they're inviting these podcasters and just
Yeah.
other sources besides the mainstream media, which kind of lets you know where it's transitioning to now with the news, because more
Right.
people are getting their news from places like podcast and different things, but and it also shows, I guess, how uh Trump appreciates that helped him get in there. You know what I mean? It damn sure wasn't the mainstream media.
Right.
It
Right.
was these
Oh,
people, that
that,
all these shows that he was going on these podcasts and all, that helped get him elected. So it's good to see that he's kind of, paying some homage to that. I like it.
Well, did you do our application yet?
I was getting ready.
Or
You took the words right out of my mouth, dog. Yeah. It's like,
Uh,
yeah.
can you imagine? Can you
I
imagine?
mean,
See, the problem is they say you got to pay for your own travel. So,
Ah, I
we'd
know.
have to set all that up. They're not paying for it.
yeah.
But
Fuck.
I know. What else is going on? They said, let me see. China has agreed to take back its citizens living illegal in the United States after President Trump threatened to impose tariffs and sanctions on countries that refuse to accept deportees. You know what went on with Colombia?
Yep.
He kind of,
Mhm.
basically take your shit back. And they were like, nah, we're good. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay. He's like, okay.
25% after a week, and they were like, you know what? We'll take them. We'll take them.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's crazy how some people don't understand how powerful them tariffs are, because we're not used to having a president that will, use that power every time it needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's one way you can threaten these other countries, because basically we're in charge. They need us. They need us
Mhm.
to buy their shit from them. And Trump knows that, you know?
True.
And I think they all know it. It's just he's willing to use it to the country's advantage. Like we
Right.
don't need y'all. Y'all need us. So guess what? You want to bring your shit in here? Well, now there's a 50% tariff on it. Well, they don't want that, because then people stop buying their shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It seems like it's very just cut and dry, easy to do, but for some
It,
reason nobody else
yeah.
wanted to do that.
It does seem very simple. I mean, like we buy a lot of shit because we're just like, I feel like we're programmed to waste a lot of shit.
Well, of
So it
course we are.
helps other countries that we buy from because we just recklessly spend no matter how broke we are.
That's exactly what it breaks down to. Is we've got so much just disposable income, whether we like to bitch and complain about the economy and this, that, and other over the years, but we still have the money as Americans to just waste it freely like we do on a bunch of nonsense we don't need. And all of this nonsense is coming from other countries. So they need us. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yep.
But trying to see what else old Trump dog is up to, because he has been making moves since day one. I know they were talking about of the 340,000 missing migrant kids that Trump has already found almost 80,000 of them.
Jesus Christ, where?
All over.
Where they hiding them?
Well, yeah, they weren't all in one house, but what caught me with that is I'm thinking, if he can do that within 5 days, why couldn't any other administration do it in years? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets down to where it's not that they can't, it's that they don't. And that's even worse. You know what I mean? Suppose you had the power to go save 80,000 children and you decide not to do it.
Right.
I mean, what does that make you? You know what I mean? What type of person does that make you? I didn't understand that when I saw those numbers. I'm like, if it was that simple, why did it take Trump getting in office to do it? Like, what are these other people doing? Like, fuck them kids. You know,
right.
I don't know what they're benefiting by leaving these children out there like that if they know that they're there. And apparently they do.
I mean, I guess it wasn't a super hot topic on the news that they could just solve and make themselves look better. So they were dealing with other shit, you know, now.
Right.
But, you know.
But look, there is a reason behind it. If you look at it, and I know it's a sick reason to think about it, but it's pedophilia. It's about exploitation of children in a sexual way, pornographic way, adrenochrome. Yeah, we can dig deep into that. And it's just, I do believe, I believe there's a whole culture of that's going on in this country. As sick as it sounds, nobody really wants to talk about it, but I do believe that's where that side is gravitating to.
Right, but it makes it even crazy that out of all them politicians that were in that administration and whatever administration that decided that they have the power to go and save these kids, but yet don't choose to exercise that power. It's hard to believe that they're all into this, like you were talking about with the pedophilia shit. And I get it. There's a lot of it running rampant, but it's just, it amazes me that not one person is like, hey, let's go, let's do this. I mean, even if you save 20 kids, it's worth the trouble. You know what I mean? So it takes Trump getting in office and actually doing something that could have been done years ago. It's like, who are these people that sleep at night with shit like that on their conscience?
Because it's just out of sight, out of mind. They're like, well, nobody's bitching at us to do it, so
it's like, how many votes is this going to win us? Not enough to give a shit about.
Right, harvesting organs, man. There's no telling how deep it is,
and baby foreskins.
I hate to think of the sadistic aspect of it, but God, my mind leads me to that a lot. And I mean, look, I'm sure this administration, we did this, we did that. And when you look at the deep end of it, I agree with you. Why couldn't they do what Trump's doing? They don't want to. There's money in it. And I think it is the root of all evil. I think it's all money. And when it comes down to if it's adrenochrome or if it's exploitation of children through pedophilia, through pornography, through organ harvesting, I think it's deep. I think it's deeper than most people can even think about or imagine,
Right.
Yeah. It just, like I said, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around how sick of a person you have to be to have that power and not use it. I mean, and it makes it look even worse when Trump's able to do it within 5 days, And I think that was part of the problem with all these higher ups in government that were so opposed to Trump getting in there. I mean, there were multiple reasons, but one of them was that he shows how fast things can get done if you actually want to get them done. You know what I mean? And it goes beyond like saving the kids. I just mean anything. I mean, look at all the shit he's accomplished over a few days. So
and And the government wants you to believe that. Well, it's bureaucracy and it's this and it's permits. I mean, like you just said, Shane, we can look at if it's the permits with California for people to get back to rebuilding their houses, or North Carolina, or anything. It's just, well, it's a bureaucracy, it's red tape, it's this and that. And it's just, to me, it's just bureaucratic bullshit when it comes down
Mm-hmm.
to it, because it's all about money. That's what it all boils down to where just instead of like Trump has done, unleashing the power of the government, because it's so powerful, it has a lot of money, it can do what it needs to do, and giving it back to who? The people.
Yeah.
you know Giving the
Well,
power
Yeah,
back to the people
it's
and let
like
us do what we got to do.
it's like the politics are so fucked that it has to go so far down the chain, because even something like saving 80,000 migrant missing kids
Yes.
in one way or another may go wrong for them politically. So
Right.
everything's got to come back to them so they can make sure that we're doing the right thing. You know, like Trump was saying it with the military in his last term when they wiped ISIS off the face of the planet, and he was like, "What the fuck is taking so long?" You know,
Right.
and they're like, "Well, everything's got to come back to you." He's like, "No, no, no, do what you got to do and get the job
well,
done. Let me know when it's
well,
done."
that was that famous story he was telling. He may have
Yeah,
even brought it up on Rogan's, but they were telling him at first, "Oh, sir, it could be 5 years before." And he's like, 5 years. So he goes
Yeah.
and talks to his people in the military, and they're like, "Well, sir, we can get it done in 2 weeks." He's like, "Well, what the fuck? Go do it." And they did it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But he's like, five
Right.
years. Like, why would that take
yep,
that long? Because
Right.
it's like you just said, Justin, we're the most powerful country in the world. We've got all the resources we need. And
Yep.
all he does every day is show how fast this country's able to get shit done if they really want to get it done. And I think
mm-hmm,
that's
Yes.
part of what pisses these politicians off, is because that's not how they like to operate. You know what
yep,
I mean? Apparently, it's
No,
not beneficial to them to solve problems overnight, you
mm-hmm.
know?
I
And I
agree.
guess because there's a lot of money in problems, as
Oh
just
Yes.
like
yeah,
there's a lot of money in war. So it's better
Right.
for it's more financial, it benefits them more financially to keep these problems around for some reason. But,
mm-hmm.
I don't understand what they were benefiting from the children, unless it was just a lack of give a shit. You know what I mean? But either way, like I said, you step away from the children aspect of it and you just go to, they were talking about the Department of the Government Efficiency, that Doge shit that Elon's in on.
Right.
He was saying it's already saving the country $1 billion a day, mostly by stopping like the hiring of people into unnecessary positions, because the
Mm-hmm.
government's famous for that shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? And the
Oh yeah,
deletion of the DEI stuff, when you
yep,
stop that, you're saving tons of money. And you stopping improper payments to foreign organizations. So all that shit could have been cut out in a day or so. You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's already saving this country $1 billion a day. Now
yep.
they said that's not good enough. They're trying to get it up to about 3 billion a day that they'll be able to save this country. That's a lot of damn money.
That's a
Add
lot
that
of
shit
money.
up over 4 fucking years of this administration. I mean, and every time he does something like that, it makes the rest of these politicians look so bad. And I think it's all starting to make a little more sense of why they were so afraid of letting this man get in office and do what he wanted to do, because it
Right,
makes them look so incompetent, when half of the time it's not because these politicians are stupid. It's because there's reasons behind why they're not trying to do anything positive. You know what I mean? And I think it's just financial reasons.
yeah. Um, I think we need to touch on and dumb down the DEI dispersion by Trump, because I've heard from two different people, um, basically overhearing them asking other people why Trump has basically brought laws back in that allows discrimination against black, gay, and women and minorities as far as in the workplace.
Right. Yeah.
So
And well, I can dumb it down for the dummies. It's not discriminating against anybody. It's hiring people based on what they can get done for your company. You know what I mean?
Competency. Right.
Yeah, it's that simple. It's like, now I can actually look at everybody and say, okay, you're going to benefit me more for my company. You just happen to be white. So
mhm,
what? You know what I mean? Where before you couldn't do that. They were
Yep.
taking that away, and you were getting hired based, solely on your race or your gender or whatever. And it's nonsense. I mean, what company that wants, to profit, if that's their main goal, what company really wants to go by those rules that they can only put people in positions of power, because of, what they are basically, and
Right.
not what they know or what they can do. I think a lot of these companies were forced to do it. And I think a lot of them tried to falsely celebrate it like they were happy to do it. But I do think a lot of them now behind the scenes are probably like, yes, like, God, it's about fucking time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because
Yeah.
it makes
Fucking
no
time.
sense, And then look, they're not going to be running out there discriminating, because it's not like say you got these big corporations. All right. Now they have to please, especially if it's a public, organization or a business or whatever, because they have stockholders to please. All right.
Mhm.
Right.
So now you mean to tell me that if they've got somebody that can generate more profit in the next year, to make these stockholders happy, make their company just start soaring, that if he's the wrong color, they're not going to hire him. Like, they're going to say, no, he's a black man, we're not hiring him.
Right.
We're going to get a white guy that's going to make us less money. It's just, it doesn't make no fucking sense.
No, and it aren't anti-discrimination laws, as far as employers, or I guess just anti-discriminatory laws in general, are they not in the Constitution as an amendment? Like, you can't do that. You can't discriminate based off of age, sex, religion,
Right.
So there's nothing really Trump could do. Even if he wanted to say only white people are allowed to work in America, he can't. Like, it's not possible, and that's what they're taking him, is taking the DEI away, is what a lot of the left is reaching at, is that he's only allowing white straight males to work in the government, And I'm like, y'all are nuts with this. Nuts.
Yeah, because well, especially with Trump, because you could tell Trump is all about, I'm going to put the best person for the job in this position. Doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you can see that by, just the people that are in his administration already, and the ones that were in the last administration, I mean, it's not that, what people forget. I don't think they even forget, what they just refuse to acknowledge a lot of times, is that there are a lot more white people in this country than there are any other ethnicity. So of course, by numbers, you're going to see more of them in positions. It's just it's numbers.
Yeah, because it's by a lot. Like, it's not a small percentage. Like, it's a lot.
It's not like there's 10 more of us. I mean, it's, what I mean? It's a lot. So you can't help it. I mean, if you got a stack of applications this fucking big, 3/4 of them, if not more, is going to be full of one race. And I mean, it's not our fault, but yet it was thrown at us like that. Now we can't have these jobs because there's too many of us in that corporation. Well, what the fuck is that? How is that right? I mean, it's like, the overcorrecting, and I'm not saying things didn't need to change, years or decades ago, when of course there was discrimination going on, but we're past that shit, man. These companies want whoever the fuck's going to come in there and make them the most money. That's it.
Right.
Unless it's some mom and pop bullshit, and the old man there's like, I'm not hiring no blacks. Well, whatever, that don't hire them, whatever. But when it comes to these important positions and all, man, these companies are just looking for the best person for the damn job, and that's all there is to it. They happen to be white, get the fuck over it, Yeah.
Have you seen the backlash of the what is she? She's like the co-fire chief of Los Angeles over there. She's the first female fire chief, the first lesbian fire chief, and she's the first black female lesbian fire chief.
Checks every box, huh?
Every box, dude. And then she was doing some kind of like promo video or some shit. I guess it was a couple years ago. I don't think it was very recent, but when she was first getting hired on.
Yeah.
And basically about people asking her how she was going to do her job as a female. Like, so one of her claims was that when you're being rescued from your house from a house fire, people feel more comfortable when the person rescuing them looks like them. And everybody's like, I don't give a fuck what the rescuer looks like, as long as they can get me out. Then so a lady was asking her, how can you carry my husband out of a burning building? Like, if he's incapacitated. She was like, well, if your husband's in a burning building, he just kind of got himself in a bad situation.
What's that? Was that I did see that. That was that dumb bitch that said that. Okay. Yeah. I saw the headline, something about that, and I just kind of scrolled past it because I can't take much of what them ignorant people say. But that was a real comment
yeah.
that's going to be made that your
Yeah.
husband basically, don't get yourself in that kind of position. And you don't have to worry about who's coming to save you. I mean,
Exactly.
Jesus. So that was
And this
her
was
answer.
like a pre-recorded self-promo video that
Oh.
had like full-blown editors and shit that like,
Oh, that's even worse.
yeah.
Yeah, that's because somebody had to watch
Absolutely.
that and say, yeah, that's cool. But
Yes.
that's what DEI gets you right
Yeah.
there. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I don't know
Right.
how anybody can be on board with that at all, because apparently this person, whatever it identifies as, is not qualified for that job.
Nope.
You know what I mean? There's no way, shape, or form that person's qualified when that's the best answer they can come up with if my husband's in the house fire, well, he shouldn't have been in it.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, man. Oh, man. And they wonder why they wanted to get rid of that shit and why that was bringing companies down,
Right.
It's reasons like that right there. It's fucking.
I don't get it. It's like you said, how just white people just outnumber every other race in America by a lot, right? So it's like they get mad because you don't see transgender black people in positions of power. And it's like, out of the whole fucking population, how many transgender, lesbian, black females do you think there are in fucking America for you to see one at every goddamn company that fucking exists? Like, how many do you think there are? There's not a
It's
huge
like-
fucking selection.
There's like 17 in the whole country, and they want them in every position of power,
Right.
Way less than 1%, I'm sure.
They want to go
So
down
it's
the
just-
list of
it's
Fortune
incredible.
500s and it be like, a 0.0002% of the population is CEO at every fucking one.
Well, and they got used to that shit because that last administration was bad with that, because they would just blatantly say, look, this is who we're looking for. If you're not this, if you don't check these boxes, you need not apply. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the boxes were ridiculous. It wasn't like, we need a graduate from, in this school or whatever, degree in this, that, and other, or experience in this position. It wasn't none of that. It was, what color are you?
Right.
And what's your sexuality? Oh, you got the job. I mean, come on now. I mean, who thinks that's right? And not to say that those people don't deserve jobs, but at least fucking earn it,
Yeah.
But this administration got people so used to just, that's how you hire people,
Right.
And if you weren't hired and you fit in those boxes, then you were screaming discrimination and wanting to sue people, Speaking of that, did you see that fat, well, I want to use the word bitch, but that fat rapper that is suing Lyft because she was obese, and the dude's like, look, I don't think you're going to fit in my car. And she's got it on video. She's like, what you mean? And he's like, my car has a size limit or a weight limit, and she's huge. She's big. And he wouldn't let her in it. So now she's suing Lyft. Of course, he got fired. And I'm thinking, hey, man, that dude, his shocks probably appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had seen that,
I
man.
didn't.
Big old girl. I'm gonna pull her up. Let's see.
No, I didn't see that. That's incredible.
Yeah, let me pull this up. What is that? Lyft? Yeah, but anyway, I was when you said discrimination, I was thinking, is that a form of discrimination? If she's 489 pounds. I mean, it's
That's
big.
wow.
Now.
That's
It's
a
a
lot
lot.
of women.
And well, he pulled up in like a Corolla, so he's like, let me share the screen. Let's look at this beauty. This isn't fat shaming. This is just, she weighs 489 pounds. It's not my fault. So can you get that into a Corolla?
Oh, Lord. No.
Brad don't want to say nothing.
No.
Brad's
That's
wife must be in the room.
That's like a F-250. Yeah, so
Bring the box truck.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, but yeah, this is. I mean, it's a shame. I mean,
It really is.
the multi-million-dollar lawsuit over a driver telling. Let's listen to her.
I'm like, oh man, she already knew. I can fit in this car. Yes, I can.
He told her there's not enough room in his car.
The kicker part was when he started to talk about his tires. I feel like that was a slap in the face. That was like my tires.
The driver said his tires could not handle her weight.
For every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car.
Yeah, because they need to order the Uber XL.
No, I don't never have to order Uber XL.
He apologized, canceled the ride.
Uber
and
XL.
left her. The rapper says she's
I didn't know they had that. Oh, there she goes.
Dank DeMoss, as she's known at the
Dank
club,
DeMoss.
crushed by the whole situation.
I just want them to know, like, it really hurt my feelings.
It looks like a lift might be hurting pretty soon, too.
I knew it was illegal and I knew that it was wrong.
Her attorneys, John Marco and Zach Runyon, say weight is a protected characteristic in Michigan by law.
It would be no different than a driver pulling up and saying, I don't want to have black people in my car, or I don't want to have Christians in my car, or Muslims in my car. It's the same. Under the law, it's the same.
The lawsuit is filed. Since she posted the encounter on social media, other full-figured folks have reached out saying
Fucking fat.
land.
Okay, now look,
Dude, I will buy her Ozempic.
something. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like, look,
that's what it takes. Yeah, I mean, I'll help
we can
her out.
we can sympathize with her issue or whatever.
Absolutely.
Point is, to me, that is that man's right. Maybe he was really concerned. It's not the same as pulling up and saying, "I don't want a black person in my car." That because what is that going to hurt, a black person getting in your car? Now, he may, in his mind, really have been concerned about the well-being of his tires and whatever else. Not saying it would have happened, it would have damaged anything, but maybe in his mind, he really thought. I mean, this. I don't know. She's 500 pounds.
He could be a car guru, man. He knows that my payload is X. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's like you don't have a pickup truck, and it's like you don't have a Toyota Corolla, and I'm going to Home Depot to pick up a pallet of freaking Quikrete. You just don't do it. So
you think that's a gimme lawsuit, though? You think Lyft is just going to cave? And
I think so.
Dude, probably so. They'll probably pay it off. But I mean, look, that lawyer, typical bottom feeder, dude.
You seen him? He looked like
he's just a typical bottom feeder, dude, and that's just the way they are. They're a dime a dozen, So he'll make more money than her off of it. Put it that way.
No doubt.
I believe.
Yeah, I saw Lyft came out on X, of course, apologizing and blah blah blah. So they're already jumping ahead of this, and I'm sure they're just going to go ahead and pay out. So it's a huge payday for her. Hey, maybe she can use that money to get herself a little bit healthier, because right now
she's not.
Justin, I'm trying to be positive.
I think the Lyft driver should have required like a deposit for a new set of shocks or something, and just went with it.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, he probably should have known that was going to lead to trouble, though, especially once she pulled out her phone. I mean,
should have been like, if you paying for these shocks, I'll bring you wherever you want to go.
I didn't know they had Uber XL, dude. I guess they pull up in Suburbans.
Dude, maybe that's what they need to put on the Uber. Like, what's your weight? And then you can say, well, my car can't handle it. I don't know. So I got to send a F-250 for you. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know where it goes. You know what I'm saying? But the Corolla ain't happening, dude.
Fucking Airbus A330 shows up.
Whatever it takes, Justin. Yeah,
Can you see the trouble? Like you bring a scale with you everywhere you go, man. Please step on this. Oh my God. I don't know how there's.
Oh, and you got luggage? You're fucked.
Yeah, I don't know how do you win in that situation? You know what I mean? What do you do? I guess you just. I guess you just take them. I mean, whatever. Get in, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, if I was an Uber driver, I would be very observant. That looks like her. I'm just going to keep going. I ain't stopping. Cancel that fucking fare, dude.
Uber XL, baby.
Yeah. Unbelievable, dude.
Did y'all see that dickhead cop that shot himself and then called it in, claiming that he got shot in a traffic stop?
I did not.
I haven't seen that.
New York State trooper, dude. He just decided that, and they don't even give like any reason. He just shot him. He shot himself in the leg with a .22, and then drove his car to a scene somewhere on the side of a road somewhere, and then got on his thing saying, "Officer down, help, I've been shot," and gave him a description of the car, even made up a license plate number and everything.
Wow.
And they finally said that his story just wasn't adding up, so they did some investigation and they arrested his ass, for that. But it's like there was no reason behind it. There was nothing he was trying to gain from it, just besides saying I was shot in service. I don't know. It was just so weird. It was
trying to cover his bases, But I mean, why would a policeman be carrying a .22? I don't understand that,
Well, because he wasn't going to shoot himself with a .40 cal. That's why.
I mean,
but Yeah, that's what I mean. The whole story. I kept waiting. Like I'm reading it and I'm thinking, okay, well, what is the like? What was he going to gain by being shot? You know, like was it some kind of
Exactly.
money he was trying? But there was nothing. It was just there was no reason. He just, I guess, wanted the clout of being able to get on in the news and all and say, "Oh, I was shot," you know, in duty, and I don't know. It was just very, it was very crazy. It was some New York State trooper. He was looking for sympathy or even to win attention, is what they said. I mean, that's it. Yeah. So he leaves. He gets some bullet casings. He throws it around. You know, he throws it around on the ground and he shoots himself with a 22. And he says that's what the suspect had was a 22. That's why he was shot with a 22. But he popped himself in the leg and then drove to whatever scene he was, you know, going to play this off at. And yeah, decided to call it in on the radio. I've been shot, gave some fucking license plate. And I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, what made you think this was going to work? You know,
Dude, social media has it just yeah, social media can have a lot of effect on a lot of people. I don't know, man. That's
well,
crazy.
yeah. And what really pissed them off, they said it prompted a massive manhunt. So you know
I bet.
the money and all that was spent, you know, and then
Can you imagine?
the district attorneys up there and the, you know, the head of the state troop are up there
Yeah.
just giving all these press conferences, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
just basically threatening whoever did this and they're going to catch him. You shot
Right.
an officer, and then it was all this dumbass decided to shoot himself in the leg. So let's see his
Some
body
people
camera.
paid to be cops, dude. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, his body camera wasn't working, but the firearm charges against the parent. Oh yeah, the parents got arrested and all for having an illegal firearm. I don't know why with the firearm in question being criminal due to illegal characteristics. What does that mean, Justin?
I have
Ain't
no
it, man?
clue.
Oh, I'm just
don't
wondering,
see it.
near the fire, what is an illegal characteristic? Like maybe the barrel sawed off or something? Would
It
that be
may, yeah, legal care. I mean, it may have had like a switch on it or something. An illegal attachment. Could be like the barrel too small. What kind of firearm was it?
just 22 caliber gun? It says.
Maybe
Damn,
it
it's
had like
crazy
a
because
suppressed barrel on it.
well, it's crazy because if you look back, they start saying some of his family history. His father is the former partner of NYPD officer Michael Dowd. He was one of the most corrupt officers in the Big Apple's history. The pair were both busted in the 90s for running a cocaine ring linking Brooklyn to Suffolk County. Multiple police sources previously told the Post. Oh, so he was just dirty. Like his father was a freaking bum and, you know, a dirty cop. Huh. That's just weird. After launching its review, police halted their search for the purported gunman for information about whom they were offering the $10,000. So they offered a reward for whoever shot this guy. I wonder if he can collect it. I wonder if he can collect that reward. Like, hey, I know who did it. It was me.
Yeah, it was me. Can I collect the 10 grand? Yeah. I need it. Help pay for attorney fees.
So no, like I said, I just thought it was crazy because there was really no. Usually with shit like that, there's a reason behind why they're doing it. Some sort of scam they're trying to pull. This guy just wanted the fucking, you know, the attention. So
Yeah.
kind of like this plus size woman that's suing Lyft. It's like she knows her big ass don't need to be getting into a Corolla, but
It's so asinine, dude. It really is, dude. Where's it in, dude?
it don't. We're gonna leave big people alone tonight.
Yeah, let's do that, dude. That's not
Let's move on.
Yeah. We might get sued.
What else is going on?
Gee, everything, dude. Yeah,
Little
everything's
terabyte. What is up? Yeah, Jussie Smollett story. You're right. It was just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Justin? We lost Justin.
I'm here. I'm
Is
just
it-
having camera issues.
Oh, dude, look, your fans are looking for you. Boss bitch is like, we
I'm
lost
coming.
Justin. Oh Lord, we lost Justin. What's wrong with your camera, bro?
Well, I had to go downstairs and kick everybody off the internet because apparently every device in the house was on one Wi-Fi channel. And then when I came back up, my phone decided to disconnect.
Now, I want to know, how serious are we taking this Jake Paul and Logan Paul fight that's coming up.
I didn't know it was happening.
Yeah, March 27th. These ass clowns have talked HBO Max into putting their boxing match on their, streaming service or whatever. And I'm like,
what's the money involved? Do we know?
Probably millions. And I'm thinking, who is falling for this shit? You know what I mean? Like we all
canceling.
Oh, dude, we all got sucked into that Paul Tyson bullshit. But after watching that, like, why would anybody take a second out of their day to watch this clown fight, quote unquote, fight his brother? I mean, come on now.
Not happening.
It's just amazing how, for one, the power that the Paul brothers have to even be able to pull this off, because they're going to do it. You know what I mean? They're going to do it. There's going to be millions of people to tune into this bullshit. And then they're all going to sit there after the fact and bitch about how scripted it looked, Yeah. But yet they're still going to tune in and they're going to make millions of dollars. And it just amazes me, man. I don't get it. Like I said, I fell for the first one. I kind of knew that going into that Tyson fight, it wasn't, I'm thinking this ain't going to be real. There's no way. But the curiosity got me, so I had to check it out. But it's like after that, I won't waste another second watching this clown.
No, I'm canceling my HBO subscription. Fuck them, man. And Jake Paul.
You and me both, dude. Yeah, I'm done.
Hey, look, and it's like kudos to Paul, man. He's making his money. I just don't know who the people are that are, actually trying to tune into shit like that anymore. I mean, it's no better than WWE.
It's really not. And then they're taking bets on this shit, like.
Yeah, how do you take bets on some bullshit that's basically scripted? Which is why I know in Louisiana the last time when he fought Tyson, they wouldn't let you, bet. You couldn't do it in this state because they knew the shit wasn't a legit fight.
Right.
Right. So that lets you know right there. When you can't bet on it, there's something going on. Let's see.
How quickly do you think the hostages will be released?
I'm surprised they're not already. Honestly, I mean, I really am. I'm surprised they're not already. I mean, they're playing with fire, because Trump is about that action. Like when he says do it, you do it, or else. I mean, he's proven that. But I think in the end he'll get whatever he wants done. I mean, when he demands shit like that, it will happen. Because nobody wants to be fucked up. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
No.
Nobody wants to die. Besides, some of these crazy nuts that like to fly shit into buildings. But usually the people running these organizations, they're not the ones that want to die, So when you start knowing you got a president that will, he will accomplish that, and they start acting right. I mean, we saw it the first 4 years he was in office. So they're all gonna start getting their shit together here soon. Let's see. What else is going out there, world? What's going on, YouTube? How y'all doing tonight?
What's up with the JFK shit?
Dude, they said that shit was over 5 million pages.
Damn.
Now, I can try to copy them all and send them to you if you should.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, no, they said there's reportedly over 5 million pages in this shit, of just different. I don't know, probably it's probably, 4 million of it at least is just a bunch of bullshit nobody cares about. But I'm thinking, who will ever go through all of this?
And it's like, we really want the first pages, because I was listening to, I guess, an ex-CIA director. He was talking about it and he was like, there's such a big file on it because anytime there's any kind of court proceedings or investigations or anything done, it all goes into that file. So from the time he was shot till now, any investigation or, government talks about for it have went into this file.
Yeah, I found the only page that I found that was worth anything was that one there. It was from the CIA. That's all you need to know right there. That's all that was in that file that's worth a fuck. I went through all 5 million pages and that was it. So
that's what I figured we'd find.
Yeah. So end of story. No, I'm waiting on, honestly, Trump's been making a few little excuses about this Epstein shit, man. And I don't know if it's because maybe some of his, some of the people that he's kind of friends with are on there,
He's like, JD, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, like, you could have told me this before I picked you. Yeah, because honestly, I don't believe Trump would have anything to do with it because, for one, not just because I'm pro-Trump, but I'm saying that would have already been out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Democrats would have jumped on that in a heartbeat. But for some reason, he's not as quick to want to throw that list out. And I don't know what's going on with that, you know.
Right.
Just
I think the politicians that are probably involved with that.
Yeah, but why would Trump care? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've always said, I think if that comes out, it rocks the moral fabric of society, man. I really do. It's a game changer, you know. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to say. Like I said, I don't think it comes out. I think there's too many high profile people on there.
Yeah.
Well, but let's say Trump has the power to let it come out. You know what I mean? Like he
don't
does.
think he does.
That's what I'm saying. But why?
Yeah.
What would stop him from doing it? Like, what reason would he have unless there's somebody close to him that's involved in this shit?
Yeah, it could be, bro. Yeah.
And I mean, that may not be the case, but I just can't think of any reason not to put out that list like that if you have the power to do it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, now if shit was still going on as far as legal cases and all that shit, of course you can't just be putting shit out. But you know, your girl's already in prison. He done hung himself. So, you know, I mean, it's pretty much done with. Now release these names, you know.
Right.
Yeah, the way I see it, like even with like the Diddy shit, I understand. I mean, you can't, you know, none of that none of it's made it to court yet. You can't just sit there and start throwing out names and accusations and all that shit. But with the Epstein stuff, hey man, it's fair game. Let that shit out. You know. Yeah. I mean,
especially in his position, because you know, I mean, I would assume 90% of it are people that were talking shit about him through his last two campaigns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Being in his position, it's like, gotcha, bitch.
It's been like 7 or 8 days, dude. Let's give it time.
No. Whoa, what?
Dude, listen to me. That is not the society we live in. It is
there is no time.
Right fucking now. If this dude can go round up, let me tell you something. If he can personally, and I'm going to say personally, if he can personally round up 80,000 children.
I saw it.
He can release the Epstein list.
I saw it. Oh, dude, what about the fucking drones, man?
Didn't they come out and
they did?
What was the story behind it? Somebody was trying to explain it to me today, but I wasn't listening.
So basically, it was the spokeswoman chick was saying that she got direct word from the president to release this.
Hold on, is that her title?
Official, yeah.
Spokeswoman chick.
Yeah, that. Said that the drones were.
Well, here it is. You want me to pull it up and play
approved, it? Yeah, they were approved by the
FAA. Let's see if she'll explain it better than you.
She will.
You think?
She will.
Let's find out. Let's see what this woman's talking about. What is spokeswoman chick? Is that what we call her?
Spokeswoman chick?
Spokeswoman chick. All right. She needs a badge that says that. Hold on. I'm coming, guys.
News directly from the President of the United States that was just shared with me in the Oval Office. From President Trump directly, an update on the New Jersey drones. After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones.
Bullshit.
In the meantime, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States to start this briefing with some news. And with that, I will turn it over to...
Not buying it.
Nope.
Not buying it.
Me neither.
What?
So why does Trump lie about the drones being not the enemy?
Well, you know, honestly, I guess the way I would take that, I do believe they were ours. I just think they were doing some shit that apparently they don't. Yeah. Even Trump agrees that we don't need to know about. I don't know if there was any truth to them looking for this missing nuke, and they don't want to freak people out. You know, because that was one of the conspiracies going around, that they were sniffing for radiation because they were looking for a missing nuke. Now, of course, some people call you crazy for even, you know, thinking that, but there's because it's like they gave no details on what they were doing. You know what I mean? And there is a reason behind that. I mean, they're doing something they don't want the American people to know. And Trump sat there and said the first week he was in office, he'll let the people know what them drones were doing. Well, he didn't let me know shit there, except for that the government knew what they were doing. They knew
the whole time,
the whole damn time. They knew what was going on with these drones and sat there and lied to the American people and played stupid like they had no clue, which made it look even worse when you're telling me you don't have a fucking clue who's flying SUV-sized drones all over the country, around these military bases and other, places like that. Like, that made it even worse. I'd rather you come out and say, look, it's ours, but it's stuff that, it's top secret, military stuff that if we let the cat out the bag, it could actually hurt us as a nation because our enemies may find it out, blah, 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 blah. Give me that story at least. Don't tell me you don't know, because for one, I'm thinking you got to know. You're the government and they're flying shit over a freaking country. You know what that shit is.
Over a military base.
Yeah, but then Trump wants to come out and say, yeah, it was us, but, they were just doing some research. So anyway, and I'm like, no, dude, that ain't.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
come
like,
on,
just
man.
tell me, hey, it's some new military shit that we're working on, and they're ours. We know what they are. Don't worry. Don't panic.
Yeah,
Nothing's going to kill you. And it's like, all right, cool.
Say, look, y'all are too stupid. You'll never understand this. So don't worry. I mean, I'd rather hear some shit like that. Just be honest, So I don't buy that shit either from Trump. Well, I do buy what she said, but I just think it's bullshit that they won't give us any more information on what they were actually doing, But
and the doomsday clock just went forward 1 second towards midnight. So
what does that mean?
we're 1 second closer to I think it's a man-made catastrophe or some shit like that is what they.
Oh, cool.
They reset it every January, depending on where the nuclear scientists feel like we are in the world as far as.
So is there like a date on that?
No, it's just so midnight would be like full apocalypse, like human-made catastrophe, basically a complete world nuclear war going off, right? And no life survives. So midnight, we're the closest we've ever been to midnight. Basically, these nuclear scientists are saying, hey, it's really getting heated up out there. Like, shit needs to calm down. And the farthest from midnight we've been is right after the Cold War ended. And we agreed to destroy a bunch of nukes with Russia,
Well, I'm looking at, I went to Google it, and it's doomsday clock move closest, but the link is leading to BBC. Do I want to click on anything about a BBC?
BBCs are cool.
BBC is cool. Here we go.
I just want to make sure. I don't want it to bring me to some crazy ass. It's got that dude sitting on the edge of the bed with his big hog hanging down.
You got to go to meat spin, dude.
No, let's see. It symbolizes how near humanity is to destruction has been moved forward. I don't get it though. I mean, 89 seconds to midnight. I'm still confused on what the fuck that means. There has to be a date that they're saying this shit's going to happen if we're closer to something, right?
Well, it's a clock that goes from was it 9 o'clock to midnight, right?
Okay.
And they're moving the minute hand on the clock, so the safest the world can be in clock form is 15 minutes till midnight, right?
Exactly.
So
you're right. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't.
There is no date. It just because Einstein invented the fucking thing. It's been around that long.
Well, what does he know? I mean, what?
Not much.
But and it's a symbolism thing. Like, it's just nuclear scientists that get together every year and they study like weapons of mass destruction that are going on in the world, world conflicts that are happening, and they set it forward or back towards or away from midnight depending on how dangerous the world is getting, how much closer to complete destruction we're getting.
So it's basically just a scale. Like, in other words, it would be like red is real close, green is not close.
Yes.
They're just moving this dial.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I never really looked into I thought it was somebody actually predicting what day, and we're getting closer to it. That would have been funner.
No, but like if nukes launched from Russia to America on December 31st, we would be at 12 o'clock midnight when they reset the clock January 1st.
I got you. I got
It'd be like shit's going the fuck down.
It says the clock was originally placed at 7 minutes to midnight in 1947. Last year, it was left unchanged at 90 seconds. Yeah. Brad, are you following this at all? Did we lose Brad?
We can see him.
That's all that counts.
Do you know sign language?
Oh, shit. Let me see. What else is going on then? The nuclear clock. We're all getting closer to doomsday.
We are.
We got the spokeswoman chick.
Hey, did you know you can just like sign up to go fight for Ukraine and just join the fucking war? Like, did you know that? There's a website.
Wasn't that what that crazy fuck was doing that
Well,
tried to
there-
shoot Trump?
Yes, but I thought he was just like on Twitter asking Ukraine to come fight. There's like a legit website. You can go fill out your application to just go.
Are you going?
I'm not, but they'll pay you.
They pay
It's in
you.
between. It's in between $500 a month to I think 4,000 a month, and then if you die, your family gets 400,000.
Man, they out their mind. Yeah, let's and you know they probably got people that are like honestly.
They do. That's how I learned about it because I'm on TikTok and I'm seeing videos of the war, but it's being filmed by Aussies.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And then the caption was Australian and American volunteers fighting against Russia and Ukraine. And I was like, volunteers? So then I Googled it, and there's a whole like Ukrainian government website that you can just go fill out your name and what experiences you have that would help them win the war and shit. And
yeah, I still don't even know, man. I don't even know how to look at that. You know, as far as if you're looking at it from a lens of right and wrong in that situation, you know, with this Russia and Ukraine. I mean, it with us not being over there, and you're hearing so many stories from each side on who's at fault. You know what I mean? And who's the aggressor, and who. I don't even know what to even think or believe about any of that. You know, I know a lot of people in the country, they especially the left, for some reason, they jumped on this bandwagon of supporting Ukraine through all of this. And usually anything that side is jumping on, I'm kind of like, okay, what, you know, I'm a little weary of it. But like you said, I'm not educated enough in what that conflict is about or how it really got kicked off. Besides the fact that, from what I understand, Putin warned them about moving these weapons close to the border, that he was going to take it as an act of aggression, basically.
Yeah, and so I've heard a lot of things about why it started and what's leading to it, but the thing that keeps wrapping back around kind of puts us in the spotlight as well, because it's to do with NATO. Like, you know, we don't want any NATO countries closer to us. And then Ukraine starts talking about wanting to join NATO, and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Putin's like, what the fuck? No, you know? And somebody explained it like, would we allow Mexico to join Russia, China, and North Korea's alliance, being right under us? Like, would we allow that? No, we wouldn't allow that, you know? So it's the same thing on their side. Like, no, you're not fucking joining NATO. What the fuck?
Have you heard, you know who Lex Friedman is?
I've heard the name.
He's a young kid. I say young, you know, he's probably your age, but he's very, you know, heavy into politics. His family is from Ukraine, his parents. Now, he went over there and sat down and did a interview with Zelensky. And he was on Rogan's podcast not too long ago, and the way he was talking, it was like, you know, and I say this because I respect a lot of what this Lex Friedman guy says. You know, he doesn't seem like he's full of shit, but, you know, he was actually explaining how, you know, basically Ukraine was on the right side of this, you know. And like I said, I still don't know, you know. I don't want to say one way or another, you know, because you hear stories from both sides. But just after listening to him, you know, and he's trying to paint this Zelensky as he's just he's a good guy, and you know, just that and other, blah blah blah. But like I said, I still don't know how I really feel about that, you know, because I have people ask, you know, me every now and then about, you know, the situation over there, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, coming up when I was a kid, you know, it was Russia bad, Russia bad, Russia bad. I mean, that's all we ever talked about. It was always the U.S. against Russia. So you're already programmed to think that there's something wrong with you know, those people. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that they don't have a right to protect what's theirs. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I've seen also, is that it's kind of a China-Taiwan situation. Yeah. You know, where it's like Ukraine was Russia, you know, and then I guess the Soviet Union, when it broke up, Ukraine went, you know, claimed their independence, and Russia was like, all right, you know, y'all do your little thing for now, but y'all are part of Russia. And Russia was like, we want these cities to be named Russia now, and Ukraine was like, fuck you. And
well, Brad, you're smarter than all of us. Who's right and who's wrong? You're gonna have to use sign language.
That's a good take, dude.
Hot take from Brad. No, can't hear you, Brad. But it don't matter, dude. Whatever you said was smart, and
It was.
believe me, I'll take your word for it. Ew. So anyway, right
That's
now,
not good. Can you hear me?
There you are.
there you are, Brad. Tell us,
Oh,
idiots,
okay.
what's going
No,
on?
I think like Putin is looking to get the USSR back as a whole. So, and I think if you look at the Ukraine issue, that there's such a strategic point with the Black Sea, agriculture, minerals. Yeah, so I mean that's my take on it. I think
Yeah.
that's where they're wanting to go with it, you know. And Putin is the old USSR, you know. So
Right. But
yeah.
do you have any of the way that I think about it, that you don't, you only know what you're being told. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's all we can ever go by over here, because we don't know what's going on in these other countries. So to sit there and just paint one side and either side of this war as wrong and the other one right, I mean, it's hard to really draw a line anywhere when you don't know what the fuck's going on. Even all these college kids that were on there, they're all fucking Ukraine or whatever the fuck, they're
Right.
all pro Ukraine. They don't even know why. They don't know why,
Right.
besides that their team told them to, but they don't know why. Ask any of them. They can't sit up here and do like I'm doing and saying, look, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just going by what the media tells me and who I need to be rooting for, but I don't know why. You know what I mean? I'm not there. I don't know.
I think on the American end of it, it's all about how much money's being funneled back to all these politicians. I mean, if I
Yeah.
have to say, how much, I mean, we put over what 200, 300 billion into this, and when you sit back and look at that, it's like, God, how much money has went back to politicians or whoever, or if it's the whole industrial war complex. I
Yeah.
mean, people love war, So
Well, did you see? They said Trump said that they saw when they went in there and started looking at the numbers and all that we were set to give Ukraine another, I don't know what it was, 50 some odd million or whatever they were going to send over there. Like they were about to send another payment over there. And this Lex Friedman cat, I don't know, have you heard of him, Brad? I didn't get.
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of him.
He was saying that he don't think we've given Ukraine enough. So the way he was really painting Russia as the bad in this. And like I said, it got me thinking, because I do kind of respect his opinion, because I've listened to a lot of his podcasts and things that he say, and he seems to always, be thinking through things, logically. So I'm like, let me see. But then again, his parents are from that area, so
Right.
it's like he may be biased, so it gets me again confused on who the fuck do I need to be, who am I rooting for in this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, if you ask that, it's like, I mean, Russia Russia as a whole. Why haven't they taken over Moldova or all of these other countries that broke away from the USSR? Why hasn't Putin went into those countries and taken them over yet?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's such a deep subject. We might not ever understand what it truly is.
I don't think we really will. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of like, it's like when Bush sat there and drove us into a war by saying it's weapons of mass destruction. Well, all we had to go by is what Bush was telling us. None of us knew what the hell was going over there, overseas. So you just kind of go by what, the side you're rooting for is telling you, which of course we're rooting for America, and the president's standing up there saying, hey, we need to do this because they have weapons of mass destruction that could annihilate us and anybody else. So, I mean, so we had no choice but to back that war for a minute. And then as it goes on for years, it's like, wait a second, like what, there was nothing over there.
Did that war start right as his presidency started, or was that when we helped free Kuwait? Was
that
his presidency
started with his father?
The Kuwait thing did, right?
Absolutely.
And the war started right as Bush came in. I think it was 7 months after he came in. So in Bush's defense, he was probably going off of what he was being told too.
No, he knew. He knew.
You think?
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely, dude.
You think Daddy Bush didn't know?
Daddy Bush. Look, and we went. I think. Look, I don't know. I got to blame Cheney for all of it. I think he's a warmonger from way back, and Senior, George Bush Senior, we're going to go in, we're going to do what we have to do. And look, I think at the end of the day, it's all about oil with those people. And I don't think he was able to complete the mission Sr. So I think, of course, you had 9/11. I think that was, which in my mind, the more I read about it and think about it, I think it's all a conspiracy. I think it was all a setup. Uh, and then here we are. Bush comes back. We're in now with, like you said, Shane, with the weapons of mass destruction, which was total bullshit that we all kind of fell for. We really did. I mean, we all kind of fell for it. And here we are 20 years later. We would, now we're pulling out of over there. And, but yeah, I think they
But
all knew about it. I think it was all about the industrial war complex.
well,
And that makes a lot of money for people.
they
Not us, but the
did
politicians.
find bioweapons.
Yeah,
When they
but
went, they found bioweapon labs,
Yeah.
So it wasn't
Well-
like they went over there and found 9mm bullets.
Yeah, but I think what they were looking for was, Saddam Hussein was the one that had the weapons of mass destruction or
Fuck
bioweapons.
him. Hope he's
Yeah.
burning in hell, living it
Well,
up.
he probably is. But in the same sense, it's like, God, look at the chaos over there in Iraq. To me, I'm not a supporter of dictators, but God, I mean, he did hold that country together for the most part, instead of this cabal that you got going on over there now, where you don't know who's ruling what, or if it was Gaddafi, or look who they just ousted now in Syria with Assad, and you got
Yeah.
Taliban running that. So,
Well-
God, I mean, where does it go?
Yeah, we're good at that, going into a territory, fucking it up, and then these terrorist organizations are birthed out of that. You know what I mean?
And it's true
crazy.
because you're trying to turn a country into some type of democracy, or
Yeah.
not, I can't say a republic, but some type of democracy of what we practice. Those people are a little bit out of the Stone Age, if I have to, if I
Well,
have
yeah,
to say.
they are right. They're behind. Yeah.
Yes, they're way behind. And yeah, I just, like I said, I think it's more money driven, more minerals, more
Oh.
oil. I think there's a method to the madness, if I could say.
I think it's all money driven.
Which is
honestly.
why
absolutely.
we got him out of Kuwait, was all the oil. I don't think we gave a fuck about Kuwait, but
no,
we
they-
couldn't
not at
take
all.
their oil prices doubling because Saddam Hussein wanted to own it. I think what
And-
was
and-
it, like 25% of the world's oil production came out of Kuwait?
That's what they say, but yeah, between them
And
and
you-
Saudi Arabia,
And Justin, I know I want to go back. You said, something about Bush, maybe believing that there was them WMDs, and I thought about it after I kind of said, no, there's no way. In his defense, maybe that's what he was being told by the military
Right, because
leaders.
he wasn't
I-
there. Like, he didn't go look in those warehouses.
I would just like to believe the president knows, what's going on a little bit more than that. But at the same time, you only know what you're being told. Just like us as citizens, the only thing Bush knows is what he's being told. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
His
when you
people,
got-
right,
Right.
exactly.
And when you got warmongers up there, where they're going to lead everybody to believe that we have to go do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's so much money to be made with war.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're in so
yeah.
many senseless wars because people are getting filthy rich. So it's like any chance we get, it's like, yeah, we need to go fuck them up. In the name of freedom, we got to go fuck
Yeah.
them up. And meanwhile, everybody's
Now-
getting rich. Our young kids are going over there and dying for nothing in these senseless wars that are going
Right.
on for years and years.
Like we talked about with Trump, I don't think it should have taken 20 years, but,
Yeah. No.
No,
Look,
absolutely not.
if they were there for a legit reason, there's no way. Like, Trump's not going to go in anywhere and let a fucking war last 20 years. There's no reason for that. Not with
no.
being the most powerful military in the world.
Right.
You don't let something drag on for 20 years unless there's a purpose behind it. And that purpose is it made a lot of people wealthy. Lots of
Absolutely.
people wealthy, and that's another sick game that they play,
Yeah. What up, Skate?
Skate, what's going on, brother?
Did y'all hear about the story of the World War that almost started over a tree on the North-South Korea border?
No, fill me in.
All
All right, so
me.
there was basically there's an embassy on the North and South Korea border, right? And it kind of overlooks these three strategic bases, all right? Well, there was this big poplar tree that was blocking the view of one of the bases from South Korea into North Korea, right? So no matter where they were at, they really couldn't see from this embassy into these bases. So the tree was on South Korea's land. So they said, all right, we're going to cut this fucking tree down. So they get out there with axes, the South Koreans, and they start cutting it. And North Korea, they send soldiers over. And they're like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all are not chopping this tree down. And they're like, yes, we are. So they were like, well, if you keep chopping, we're going to start shooting. Like, you're not taking the tree down. So they call the Americans, the South Koreans. They're like, hey, we need you to come over here, help us take this tree out, yada, yada, this and that. And so we come over there. I think it's 8 Americans and a little troop with the South Koreans. And they're like, all right, we're going to start chopping the trees down. This one poplar tree. So again, North Korea comes over. They're like, fuck y'all doing? It was a truck of North Korean troops. And they're like, we're cutting the tree down. So long story short, it winds up getting ordered that North Korea attack us and the South Koreans. So they come over with bats. It's like 30, 40 guys on North Korean's army, and they come over with like bats and sticks and shit, and they're attacking the Americans and the South Koreans. They wind up killing 2 American soldiers and injuring, I mean, pretty much the rest of them. So it wound up being a whole beef over a fucking tree, and it almost started a full like world conflict.
So they killed with bats and sticks.
Bats and sticks.
What?
Because the Americans went over there not expecting to fight, so they're there with axes chopping a fucking tree down.
When was this?
It probably in the 80s. It was a while
don't
back.
say like last week.
No, it was a while back,
week.
but it's just like a world war almost started over a fucking tree.
Damn. Man, see that? Well, and speaking of, not the tree situation, but just, how we only know what we've been told. That's another, like with North Korea. Like, how bad is it really over there? And I'm not saying it's good. I'm not defending this shit at all. I'm just curious, like, how is it compared to what we hear? You know what I mean? Now, they've had defectors that come from there that will tell you, that I guess it is as bad as what we're hearing. So I guess we can take their word for it. But but they being as bad as they are, do you think we have any right or any responsibility to go over there and show them a little freedom? You know what I mean? Do you think that's our place in the world? If it's as bad as what you
think
hear.
if that's the role that we're taking, then we definitely should have some responsibility in it, as far as like being led into, Afghan and Iraq in the name of being the savior of the people. It's like, well, we need to be that for everybody if that's the role we're going to take. But
they pose no threat. They pose no threat to us, really. You know what I mean? I know Kim Jong, he talks a lot of shit, but he's not. They know that man's not firing shit at us because he would be annihilated in 10 minutes. So they know that. You know what I mean? So, but is it our job to be the world police if we can?
No, I don't think it is. No,
I agree. I disagree. I agree with you 100%. We should not be the world police. We've done this time and time again. If it's Afghanistan, Iraq, liberating Kuwait, and dude, I just don't think we should be the world police. I don't see it.
Well, this brings me back to the beginning of the podcast, and we were talking about having the power to save children and not doing it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying your opinion's right or wrong. I'm just giving you like a devil's advocate here. If you do have the power to go and save a country of people that are oppressed as bad as it is in North Korea, why wouldn't you do it if you can? You know what I mean? Like, why not go over there and say, you know what? We're not going to let these people suffer like this no more. We have the power to change this, and we're changing it right now. Or do you think it's just not our fucking?
I think the difference is the lives that you're putting at risk between saving children in America versus the weapons that you're going to have to use and be against by liberating people of North Korea.
Right. And do you really think we have the power to change? Or are the people of North Korea willing to change? I think we could do it. But are the people of North Korea willing to change to a pro-democracy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because
I don't
I'm with
know,
you. I think we have
same
the
thing with-
physical power, but
we have the physical power. We can do whatever
psychologically,
we
I
want.
don't know.
But psychologically, just as in Iraq and Afghanistan, like I said earlier, you're trying to change a country that is just right out of the Stone Age to
So-
some pro-democracy bullshit that I don't know if it's even possible to get the people to adhere to it. You know, some
So you're
people will.
saying, so you're saying basically you think that as a culture they are so brainwashed that their ruler is the king, that they
He's
worship him
supreme.
enough
Absolutely.
that it would
Absolutely.
take
Yes.
right. It would take almost a new generation. Like you'd have to get rid of that. You know, that generation
a lot of-
start scratch.
Yeah, there would be
Yeah.
a lot of collateral damage.
But
Absolutely.
I think it's because a lot of them they don't even know that they're oppressed. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a kid who's brought up abused. They don't know that they're abused.
Exactly
You
right.
know what I mean? Until
Exactly right.
you show them that, hey, this isn't, y'all don't have to starve. You know what I mean? So, like, in other words, how long would it take to convince citizens that, look, we can feed you. You don't have to starve to death.
I don't think you
You know?
can, because even going back to the Afghan and Iraq wars, like, I feel like a lot, if not most of the citizens there still, you know, America is the enemy, regardless if it's, you know, hey, we're trying to get rid of these fucking assholes that are keeping you down, you know, and it's like, nah, fuck y'all are invading my country, you know.
Exactly right.
So I just don't think there's any changing it.
It's a good
I
point.
think if you do that, it has to be where you have to have the people of that country to uprise to turn it over.
They have to
That makes
realize
sense. Does that make
Yeah,
does that make
it does.
sense?
But when they don't ever, like, they don't even know how bad they have it because they don't know any different. So
Man,
therefore, you
leave
will
'em.
never get that uprising. You know what I mean?
Leave it be.
I
I
hear
and
you.
same thing with Iraq. I mean, look, I don't support Saddam Hussein, but he did. He ran a tight ship. The country was somewhat intact, and or if it's Muammar Gaddafi with Libya, you know, and all of a sudden, you know,
You weren't seeing these
ousted him.
terror cells that pop up after you get rid of people like Saddam. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And all of a sudden
then
now we're
I
dealing
think
with
what that
ISIS.
enables, though, Shane and Justin, I think what that enables when we fight for a country to fight for what they're to liberate a country, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and then we don't complete the task, and the Taliban takes over, or whatever terrorist organization takes over, because, like, look at Afghanistan, look at the chaos over there now. We have now not only given that country up, but all of their minerals, all of their oil, all of the weapons that we left over there. It's a shit show. I'll be honest with you. It's a fucking shit show, you know?
It is.
And
But go ahead.
No,
I was
go
going to say,
ahead.
but it was run by the wrong people, like the people that were in charge of that.
I agree
created
with
that
you on
shit
that.
show,
I
you know what
agree
I
with
mean?
you on that.
'Cause let's
But
put it this way: Trump would have never exited that place like these idiots did. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely not. I agree with you 100%.
Now, that don't mean we needed to be over there, but I'm saying if we were in a
I
position
agree
like
with
that, somebody that's competent or as at least there for the right reasons, they would have never exited that place like they did. That was a total disaster. You know what I mean?
Total
Now,
disaster. Right.
Some
things are better left untouched.
Right. And that's why I was wondering, because it comes down to a moral thing. You know, I was just
as
curious,
fucked up
like,
as it sounds, because I don't want
Right.
to see oppression and suffering from anybody. I really don't.
Yeah.
But God, I mean, like North Korea. Do you go into North Korea and try to disassemble what they have and then fight the people that are there that are just inbred, born? That's all they understand is Kim Jong-un, and then we're going to try to change them with, American soldiers on the ground. Dude, I think they're in another battle that'll never end.
Right. I guess it's a bigger task than I was presenting it as. You know what I mean? I do see that. I just mean, like, you know, when you have the power to stop suffering, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's got to be a hell of a decision you make to stay out of it. You know what I mean?
We can't even liberate the hood, dude.
We're not going over.
No, exactly. I mean, look at Detroit, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
Dude, you know, Chicago. I mean, come on, dude. You know.
Yeah, and we've got the power to change that,
do.
really, which we
We
should.
really do.
Should start
Yeah, we really do.
That we should do, because that is our people. It's our
Yes.
citizens. Nobody
Absolutely.
should be
Right.
living like they live in those places. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's
But to say
almost
we're
like,
going to send, but to say we're going to send 300,000 young men, women
sure,
over there to try to liberate some country that really don't give two fucks about us, and then they think we're invading their shit.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then you got families that are all blown up, displaced, killed,
Yeah,
blah blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Now,
it's
and
it's
all
a
of this
double-edged
that we're
sword.
talking about is kind of under the assumption that we're forcing ourselves in a position that we're not asked to do. But say a country like
Ask.
North Korea, if the vast majority of North Korea is asking us to come in and help them overrun this government, is it our place at that point to help?
Yeah, but that's a good point. What do you do if you're getting asked for help to come, in this oppressive regime? Then what do you do when you have the power to
Wow.
do it, but yet you're going to use your resources? You may even
Yeah.
lose some lives of Americans going to do it. So are you obligated to do that now as America? Are you obligated to
It,
do that just because you can?
in my opinion, it would all come down to the resistance. Let's just take North Korea as example, since we're talking about that. In my opinion, that it would all depend upon the resistance of the North Korean government. How far have they how far have they gotten? How far can they push this agenda that they're looking for change? If they're capable of overthrowing the present government, and they do it, and they need help from the United States to bring them to some type of democracy. Dude, maybe we need to, maybe. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword, man.
Yeah, yeah,
But to say
yeah.
we're going to go into a country and invade it and kick out like Saddam Hussein and totally disrupt the whole apple cart, God, I don't
No.
know. I don't think that's a good thing. But if there's a resistance there, like if you even look in Afghanistan with those freedom fighters that are over there, they're
Mhm.
trying. I don't think they have a shot to do whatever needs to be done. But should we come in and
Should we?
back them? Maybe we should back them to a certain degree. But does
Right.
it mean taking United States troops and military and tanks and planes? And I don't know. I think the country has to stand up as a whole and say,
Yeah.
look, we overthrew the government. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's our position to come in and say, look, we can give the money, we can give the troop, we can give the support for some type of change. If that
And I
makes
think
sense.
we also make a
Yeah.
mistake in those situations where we are asked to help fight a resistance, where
Yes.
we don't help a little bit. It's like America first. Let's go, So it's
Yes.
like balls to the wall instead of like,
Right.
all right, we'll send a few troops and a few this and a few that to come help your resistance, and we'll see how it goes. If we're doing good, then we'll back you up as much as we need to. But we always take lead and take charge, and it's like, well, fuck
It's
it,
true. And if
we're
you
all
look at
in.
Iraq, man, of course they wanted to go into Iraq, liberate it, and then set up some constitutional democracy stuff over there. And it doesn't work with those kind of people. They don't know
Yeah.
anything about it, how we
Well,
live. And when you try to impose our values on a country like that, it's not going to work. I just don't think we can see it hasn't worked.
yeah.
No,
And that's a good point you make, because it's
Yeah.
the small percent of bleeding heart liberal that is in
Right.
a lot of us, that you want to help people if you can,
Absolutely.
everybody. But
Absolutely.
when you bring up those points of that, not everybody wants to be helped. Because
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
Right.
You go waltzing into North Korea, I would venture to say that a large portion of that society isn't going to want you there, because they
would
don't
feel
know
like it's an
anything.
invasion.
Exactly, because for one,
These
they've been taught that
right.
we're fucking evil their whole life.
Absolutely. So
There's
that's
a
what I'm saying. You go in and do that, there's going to be a shit ton of collateral damage.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just not worth it, is what you're saying. It's not our job to go in there and start fucking shit up, just to.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
I think if it's a threat against the United States, if it's gonna affect our sovereignty, our democracy, then hey, man, we got to do what we got to do to protect ourselves. Or other than that, God, can we go in and change governments? I don't think that's our
Yeah.
job. I really don't.
I guess
As
it's
much
like,
as it sucks, I don't think it's our job.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like, the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffetts, the Elon Musk, that just because they're billionaires don't mean they're obligated to give everybody some of their money. because they could end a lot of poverty themselves.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Now it would be temporary because people are still going to piss through the money, and then in a year they'd be broke again. But technically, they could do that if they came together. These billionaires, they could sit there and buy everybody a house, get them all set up, put money in their bank account, and take care of all the underprivileged people. But is it their fucking job just because they have it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I guess it's the same kind of, concept that it's not always your job to take care of everybody, even though, it may seem like a nice and the right thing to do, but they're also in the instance with going into other countries, like you said, there's unnecessary casualties that come from that. So I guess it's just not the best idea.
And look, you can revert all the way back to even something as simplistic as Selena Gomez. She's over on TV crying, or internet, whatever she's crying at. I feel sorry for you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What the fuck has she done?
Nothing. How many has she moved into her home?
She has
absolutely. Or not even her home, Shane or Justin. What has she set up? Has she set up refugee camps, or has she set up any type of medical or housing, or has she contributed anything besides fucking liberal tears?
Now,
just
white devil's advocate here. In her defense, we don't know, the philanthropy that she may do. I'm not, I don't want to sit up here and say she doesn't donate or shit, but there's other steps she could take if she cares that much. You know what I mean? She could, matter of fact, why don't you donate 90% of the salary you make? Because you probably don't need 90% of it to live. No. You know what I mean? But you don't do that. Open your doors to some of these refugees that you were feeling sorry for. How many of you think she had living on her property before all this shit went down? Zero. The same amount she has now. But yet she wants to get on there.
No, I stand corrected with that, dude. I stand corrected. She probably had a few of them working for her, but
that's true. Yeah, that's true. But they weren't living there. They're like, no, you got to go back to your hut now. But
she had Beebs living with her, huh?
Probably so. Yeah. But no, you're right. So she gets on there. She makes this video, of course, has to make a video, of her crying. You couldn't do it without crying, and it's like, you didn't give a shit a week ago. Now you care,
Tell her
so
to marry one. Marry one, get him his card.
There's plenty of ways to help if you really want to help. Besides getting on your phone and crying now that Trump is in office and sending some of these people home. You know what I mean? Look, it's a fucked up situation if you're the one being sent back. But there has to be rules. There has to be law. You cannot just have a free-for-all fucking country. You cannot just have an open border. You don't have an open front door all the time to your house. So why the fuck would you have an open border? It's not safe. That's all there is to it.
Not.
You know what I mean?
Exactly right. I agree with you 100%.
It wasn't like Trump said, we need a lot of these people. We need them, but we need them to do it the right way. You know what I mean? Right. There's a lot of good people that come from other countries that want to come to our country and help America prosper. I get it. Come on, come join us. You know what I mean? But to act like none of them are bad apples, that's just foolish. And that's how that administration has painted it over the last 4 years or so, is that everybody coming across that border, nothing wrong with any of them, come on in. But yet none of them are saying, hey, look, you can stay in my guest house if you want to. You know what I mean?
And if they were all great, their home countries wouldn't be pissed off about taking them back.
Right.
Colombia's like, we don't want them motherfuckers. Like
Mexico too. The Mexican citizens are bitching because the Mexican government's talking about giving them housing and giving them, almost like a food stamp situation. And like the Mexicans that are still there, like the fuck no, absolutely not. Fuck that.
So what does that tell you?
And I'm like, it's not just us.
Yeah. Right. And it's a shame. Look, I'd hate to be caught in that because there are some good, a lot of them are just good people that are trying to get out of a bad situation. I get that. You know what I mean? And again, that's where, you start to lean into that bleeding heart liberal shit. I get it, but it cannot just be a free for all. It just can't. We will not survive as a country. And you know what I mean? And then there's countless of stories of the crimes, and a lot of them tragic, where citizens are losing their lives because of they're letting just anybody over these borders. I mean, the Lake and Riley thing, that didn't have to happen. You know what I mean?
We're not the only great country in the world.
No, we're not.
Go to a different country. Why America? Go to a different country.
We're probably the only one who has the welfare system like we have.
Right.
It is a no holds barred when it comes to giving away money in this country if you're quote unquote poor. You know what I mean? Nobody starves to death in this country unless you're being abused as a kid, because we will feed everybody. There's a welfare.
If that's the golden apple, then you're not coming here for a better life, because there's tons of other countries that will give that to you. You know, you're coming here for handouts. You know,
Yeah, it's a dreamland because you know you're
if
going to
that's your golden apple.
Yeah. Well, think about it. We get if you're under the poverty line, you get free health care, you get free food. Why wouldn't you come here?
Right.
They ain't giving them shit over there in them countries. They ain't no welfare system over there like that. You know what I mean? If you don't have money for food, then you don't eat.
Yep.
That's not how it is here. And that's good. I mean, we don't need to have citizens just starving to death on the streets. I'm not saying that, but that's why they come here. They take advantage of the system that we have. And I can't blame them. But look, man, you got to close the borders up. You got to at least do it right. And that's all Trump is saying. Right. Get your ass back over there. If you're really worth being over here, then come back. We'll talk to you. We'll look at your paperwork and we'll let you know. But you're not just going to come on over and homestead. You know what I mean? You don't just fucking put a flag in the ground and say, oh, I'm staying here. Like, that's not how that shit works anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm all about America first, dude. Veterans. And dude, we have such a homeless population in this country that need help. If it's mental health or if they need rehab or just, I mean, you look at California, you can look at California, you can look at our veterans. God, and look, I feel sorry for all of them. I really do. I wish we could do it all. I really do. That's kind of the liberal side of me. I'm not really a liberal guy, but
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I want to help everybody, but I think it just as every other country probably looks at it, y'all, is that we have to take care of our own first. And we have a huge problem with our veterans and our homeless that needs to be addressed first.
Yeah. And we don't do that. You know what I mean?
No, we don't do it. No. Yeah. I mean, we do it. We just stick them in a tent somewhere.
Well, that's what New Orleans did. They moved them like 10 miles outside of town for the Super Bowl. They packed them all up and shipped them to a warehouse.
Well, that's what was pissing off all them residents up north is when they started moving these migrants over there and they were getting catered to. And the locals were like, well, what the fuck? Like, what about us? You know what I mean? Like, wait a second. You know what I mean? And that's it. It just shouldn't be like that. I mean, it should be America first, whether you want to call that selfish or not. We're in America. It's us first. And that's all Trump preaches, that, hey, let's fix our home and then we'll worry about yours. You know what I mean?
Well, to a liberal, you just said whites first. So
America first.
To a liberal, that's what you racist. Whites only. What?
They would say that's racist. That's the term they use if you don't want to take care of everybody that wants to walk across that border. It's because you're quote unquote racist. And it's like, no, I just don't want people that we have no clue what their intentions are just coming over.
Right.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what
like,
I mean?
no, I drove past a black crackhead yesterday, and I would love if he would get clean and get a house.
I would love it. I would love them all to do that, man. Right. You know, and there's a lot of people that just don't want to. They don't want that responsibility of the everyday life that we have. It's not always fun. It's stressful. Trying to be responsible and all that gets stressful. Some people just don't want that. They're like, fuck it, I'll just stay high and sleep in a tent. I mean, hey. Just don't do the shit in my front yard.
I blame the homeless drug addicts. I kind of blame the CIA in Florida for like 99% of all that.
The CIA?
Yeah, with the crack.
Oh,
with the crack.
I'm gonna step out for a minute.
In Florida, what you mean?
All the pill mills and
all the
opiates and the oxycontins and shit.
Yeah, crack's a different story, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The opiates on the street is a big problem with the homeless and the crack.
That is one thing I do kind of lean towards was I don't want to say developed, but was turned into a way to keep a certain race down.
It was definitely.
You know what I mean? Because they started giving stiffer penalties for crack than they did cocaine when it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, if you were a businessman and you got caught with an 8-ball of coke, you were getting community service. A max of 2 years. But if you got caught with a 0.1 of crack, you were doing 10 years.
That's crazy, and they knew what demographic was using crack. You know what I mean? And that's crazy when you look at it like that, when it gets explained like that. And it's like, damn, that is odd. Like, it is odd. You like to think, oh no, that's just people just bitch, they think they're oppressed and held down, but that there's no other way to explain that, why they would even make the penalty harsher for a drug that's predominantly used by the African-American community, unless you were looking for reasons to imprison, them.
Right.
It's weird. You know what I mean? And it's weird. And I usually don't lean that way of, oh, poor you, get over it. Slavery's done. Stop bitching. But I do kind of see that argument that that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Well, and then I like his stories. I don't particularly care much for him because he's just super 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 liberal. But the ex CIA agent, John Kiriakou, have you
Okay.
seen him?
I know the name, but I don't.
Yeah.
So he was talking about his time in the CIA, and when he was set to look into some shit in Afghanistan, right? So when he got there, he was saying basically 10 years before the CIA went to Afghanistan, all their fields it was either rice or corn or some crop like that. You know what I mean? Wheat. The CIA comes in, and then a year later, as far as you can see, is poppy plants. As far as you can see, it's just opium. Every single field out there. And he's like,
Yeah.
so what the fuck's up with that? You know? And his bosses just wouldn't let him investigate this. They were like, no, bring your ass back to the States. So he like set up interviews with the farmers and shit, and like they're getting paid by the acre of poppy if they keep it growing, you know?
So who was paying them?
Us.
Us.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
dude, if you look back at, and look, I always preach about Sean Ryan. I'm a big fan of his podcast. Look at that episode, if it's 149, 116, 107. That's off the top of my head. And it's like, here we are. We embattled the Taliban, and we've embattled these terrorists for 20 plus years. And for the deep state or our government to fund these people to the tune of 7 million a week, 40 million a month. God, it's like, it's deep. I think it's all deep, when you talk about Sarah Adams talking on there. It's crazy. It's crazy how we fund and then we fight it. Does that
Yeah,
make
isn't that
sense?
something? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
You know?
because there's always a lot of money when you create a problem and then you're the
Right.
problem solver. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
It's like
Absolutely.
it's kind of like if I'm a mechanic and I get a chance, if I'm a dirty mechanic, I can break something while I'm fixing something else on your car, and then I get paid
Absolutely.
to fix it. I mean, it's
Right.
it's just on a way bigger scale, but there's corrupt people in
There
every
is.
every
Absolutely.
right. So I mean, it takes you to get that high up in the government to the type of people that control those decisions. We've said it before. You don't get that far in politics unless you're a dirty motherfucker,
Dirty.
and it's
Right.
it's proven over and over again. So it takes a certain type of people to get
Right.
to those positions, and it's
Yes.
when you're a little naive, it's hard to believe that people would really do that, because that's just not how an average person functions in life. We don't go around
That's right.
causing chaos for profit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But these aren't average people. They don't think like we do. So when you step back for a second and say, okay, there are some dirty people in this world. You know what I mean? Then maybe it is possible that they're pulling some funny shit, you know what I mean, to cause some chaos so they can profit off of it. And that's all it's about. It goes back to the pandemic, the pandemic and all. I mean, all they did was cause a bunch of chaos for them to profit. You know what I mean? They won the election. That was one way to profit. And then, of course, they made billions off of this shit they were forcing people to put in them. I mean, it was all caused by them. So it never ends, and it's never going to end. You know
It's
what I mean?
not. If you listen to John Kiriakou's stories about just his time in the government and shit, and he just so he went to prison for being a whistleblower on the torture of Abu Zubaydah when he was captured. So now he's like, well, fuck y'all motherfuckers, and he's just telling everything. So he's talking about like his CIA leaders and the dirty tactics and shit that they were pulling, and just basically every branch of the government he's calling people out. And so he's got a lot of stories of just the government doing nutty shit.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't doubt any of them, honestly. You know, I mean, years ago I may have, because I was one of the naive when I was younger, thinking they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? Why would they purposely hurt people, or why would they purposely ruin people's lives? You know, they're here to run the country and make sure we're all, doing what we need to do to have a prosperous nation. And then you start to kind of look a little deeper into it as you get older and thinking, okay, these motherfuckers, they are dirty. I mean, they're evil, not just dirt. They're evil.
Well, that was his problem,
Yeah.
Is he was like, anytime he would come across some shit that looked shady, and he was like, something's like really fishy going on there. So you go to his boss and he's like, hey, yo, I'm about to investigate this. And he's like, no, the fuck you're not.
No, you're not.
You gotta go back to
Yeah,
your
right.
office. No. And he's like,
Exactly.
what are you talking? No, yes, absolutely. I'm,
Right.
so did you it popped across on Ian Blick's podcast. He's the little goofy nerdy dude that went to prison for
Oh
whatever the
yeah,
fuck
yeah. He
fraud.
talks to a lot of the prisoners.
Yes.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I know you're talking
He just dropped an interview with a lady. She was a children doctor up in Long Island, New York, and she got arrested.
Pediatrician.
Huh?
A pediatrician.
Yes.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
was about to say psychiatrist, but
Children
thank you.
doctor.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So she was in Long Island, New York, and she got arrested for, I think it was $1.5 million in fake COVID vaccine cards. She was selling to patients. You could go in there and pay $200 or $300.
Hero.
Yeah. That's what her lawyer was arguing in court, and they were like, well, if it wasn't for y'all's fucked up vaccine, she wouldn't have had to do this, and she probably saved lives. It was in between $200 and $500, I guess, depending on the person. I don't know, but
Sure.
she was charging different rates. But you could go in there and she would fill it out for you and say that you got your COVID vaccine.
So she's battling this out. Like this is happening now.
No, she got sentenced to.
She did.
It was
So they
like
found-
480 hours of community service, and she had to
But no-
forfeit 1.2 million.
but no jail time.
No, she had to forfeit her registered nurse license. She had to close her pediatric office, forfeit her money.
Had she been giving them away, she wouldn't have to give them anything as far as money. That's
as far
kind
as
of what she
money.
fucked up because she was profiting from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If she really
Right.
wanted to make that kind of a difference, she would just say, "Look here, come in, take this card
Right.
and go." But I did see Trump was sitting there basically reinstating if they want to be all these military people that got released
Yes.
not wanting to take that jab and talking about giving them back pay.
Yep.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And it's a shame. You can't do that for people that had to give up their careers in any profession. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because they had to make that choice between putting this experimental bullshit in your body or losing your career. That was a fucked up position to put anybody in, and it's criminal, is what it is. And then they sit there and pardon everybody that could be held accountable for that shit. That's how dirty and evil this shit gets when you talk about this government and this deep
Dude.
state. That's a sick thing to do.
They need to fine every company that had take the jab or you're fired restrictions in it. They need to fine them and set up an account to pay out every employee that either got fired or quit behind that fucking jab.
It should be some at least major lawsuits. I don't know why you should be able to sue them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now, I guess
Absolutely.
their defense would be, well, we were only doing what we thought was right for the safety
Right.
of the nation because of what the World Health Organization and the FDA and all was telling us. But I don't know. So I guess you'd have to kind of find a way to prove that there was some wrongdoing besides just making a bad decision. You know what I mean? At the time, which what they believed was a right decision. I don't know how you would fight that, without proving that they knew this jab was unnecessary before they got rid of you. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how you'd battle that out. That's a tough one, but I just think, like I said, it's a fucked up position for people to be put in because a lot of people lost their livelihoods and gave up their careers that they had going. I know one, he was in school fixing to graduate to be a doctor. And he quit because they were trying to force him to get that at the hospital that he was working at the time, while he was working on his degree. What do they call that when you're in there? You're not getting paid, but you're
Intern?
Yeah, that kind of whatever they call that. Yeah. So
residency. Yeah.
Residency. Yes. He was doing that. Well, they wanted him to take it. And he's like, I'm not doing it. So he gave up his entire career that through all of his high school days and everything, he made sure he had the type of grades that would get him into a good school. He did everything he had to do, and they fucked it up by trying to force him to take this medicine that he didn't want to take. So he gave up that entire career and he wound up having to go a different path in life. And that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
That is why there are pediatricians in Long Island, New York, making $1.5 million off fucking COVID cards.
That's it. I think the woman's a hero. Hey, look, man, if I needed one for my job and I could have bought one for $200, I'd have bought it.
And in her defense, they were $500 was the going rate. So
she was giving you a discount.
But yeah, And
probably like
you'd have done it. I'd have done it.
I'd have done it.
Absolutely,
And we
me
were
too.
just all three of us fortunate enough we weren't put in that position. But imagine if you were like, hey, look, you can't practice, what you've been doing to support your family for say 20 years. You can't do that now unless you take this experimental drug. That's dirty. That's evil. It should have never come down to that. It should have never been allowed. There should have been so much pushback from that these companies couldn't have forced that. And it could have been had enough people stood up in those companies and said, no, fuck you, we're not doing that.
Right.
Then they'd have lost 80% of their staff, and they didn't want that.
Right.
But so many people complied because the government scared the shit out of everybody.
Yep.
So a lot of those people went along with it thinking that, oh shit, well, I need this. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always knew it was bullshit when the government came out and said, well, if you have more than 70 employees, we're requiring that they get vaccinated. You see what I'm saying?
So if you got 60, you're good,
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
None of it made sense. Looking back at all of it, none of it, the rules that they, like you said, if you have over, 70 employees. So if you got 69 employees, you're all good. Everything's good.
You're all good to go. Right.
70,
Everything's good.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then just the whole nonsense of calling certain things essential. You know what I mean? That right there. It's like, who the fuck are you to decide if my business is essential? It's essential to me because it feeds my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another position they put people in, that they lost livelihoods. They lost their little mom and pop businesses, the ones that couldn't afford to sit for 2 fucking years without working. And nobody is held accountable for this bullshit. And that's the worst part. It's sickening that they can get away with this shit because it's not the last time they're going to do some shit like this. Now, we may not see it. Maybe they won't do it in our lifetime, but it will happen again. You know what I mean? Because they saw what they were able to get away with, and they saw the money that they were able to make by doing this. And that's somebody should have been held accountable, and then it would make the next person think, well, shit, I better not do this. I may be sitting in prison for 30 years. But when you go around fucking handing out pardons like it's fucking, Tootsie Rolls, I mean, it's like why would anybody care? You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not gonna get in trouble for this shit. Fuck it.
Like, even imagine, people like you own 4 rental houses, right? Like, you got mortgages on all 4, and then they tell you not only can you not go to your normal job, but you can't collect rent on these properties.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then the mortgage company's like, well, we need ours,
Yeah, the landlord's
your mortgage payment.
Yep. Landlords were getting fucked in this. It's like, well, wait a second. Somebody's got to pay for this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. There wasn't nothing good out of any of that shit when it came to all them restrictions they put on, because they were all unnecessary. You know what I mean? That shit made its rounds anyway. We all wind up getting it. You know what I mean? And if it came from a good place, all of these instructions, I could almost give them a pass, but they all knew it was nonsense. You know what I mean? The ones that were handing down these rules knew it was nonsense, and that makes it even worse.
Yep.
It's kind of like we bringing it, circling right back to the beginning of the podcast. If that administration knew they could go save all those children as fast as Trump did, it makes it even worse that they didn't do it. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's terrible. It's hard to believe they got people like that in this world, much less in this country that we live in and that we're so proud of, and it's run by people like that. It's terrible. And then when you get somebody in there that actually wants to do some good, they fight it in every way that they can. Right. You know what I mean? Because he might want to get in there and actually do something that's going to help us. So we can't have that, because then our citizens are going to see that it's possible. You know what I mean? That's all it boils down to. Pieces of shit. Y'all getting me started. My blood pressure's probably up here.
I also saw that up until 3 days of Trump presidency, there were still people in Asheville, North Carolina, living in tents that they had to go in there and basically buy apartments to get these people out of tents and off the streets.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's terrible. But we had money to send to Ukraine to fight a fucking war.
And we're about to send more.
Yeah, and was going to send more. Exactly. But you can't sit there and offer up a few million or whatever it was going to take. That same thing that went down in Hawaii, I mean, they gave them people a few $100 and told them, well, we'll see y'all later. And it took people like The Rock coming through trying to raise money. When you got celebrities trying to do it instead of the government, they had the money. It's like somebody else was saying that the United States accidentally overpaid Ukraine by more money than it would have taken to get Hawaii back where it needed to be. They accidentally sent so many billions of dollars that wasn't supposed to be. And they said, oh, it was an accounting error. We accidentally sent too much. They're going to give it back or whatever. But yet they don't have the money lying around to give to people in our country to help. You know, that
the emergency fund.
Yeah, it's another one that makes it, and that's what makes what they do or don't do even worse, because it lets you know they can do it.
They can.
They just choose not to.
That's right.
I don't see how anybody defends that. How does anybody find any way to justify the actions of an administration or a government at all that gets caught not helping its citizens when it can? I just don't. I don't get it.
Yeah, because like even if we were all like just 100% on board, like we need to send Ukraine money to help them fight this war. It's like, all right, look, Ukraine, I'm sorry, but we just had fucking 3 major disasters back to fucking back. I can't send you anything right now. We have to help our people. Let me get our people back in shape, and we got you. But until then, sorry, we got to help ours first.
Well, and the worst part is they could do both.
They could.
And I'm not justifying sending all that money to Ukraine, but I'm just saying they could do both, because like I was just saying, they sat there and sent, I think it was like $5 billion, you know, they overpaid, you know, and then was basically like, well, you know, we'll get it. It'll all work out in the wash. Like we'll get it back one way or another. And it's like, what the fuck? But you can't send Hawaii and the Carolinas, you know, you can't just do whatever it takes to rebuild those communities. I don't give a fuck what it costs. You got it. We got it. We got it for everything else. You know what I mean?
You know, it takes time to reallocate money, so they have
is
to
that what
switch
it is?
From different budgets. It's got to come from the defense budget, and then they have to get it
FEMA,
approved.
FEMA.
And
FEMA.
and don't help the Trump signs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because if you and the lady, well, how did she explain that off? That if they tell their people, if you're afraid to go into a certain area, you don't have to go. So if you see a Trump sign and you're afraid to approach that house, then that falls under that category. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah.
But imagine one of them popped up and said that they saw Biden-Harris signs and they were scared to go in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus, could you imagine?
Totally different story. Totally different story. But
unbelievable.
Yeah, but anyway, man, yeah, it's just sick, man. The more you start looking into it, I almost rather be oblivious to how this government is run, because then you don't, you know, it doesn't get you so furious on what we're dealing with over here, you know. And it could always be worse, but it's just, you know, just to know the amount of corruption that goes on, you know, the more you start digging into it, the more you start paying attention, the more you see it. And it's really mainly because your hands are almost tied. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, you try to vote a candidate in that will, you know, do what you think is right, which I believe we have right now, and all you get is resistance. You know what I mean? Right. It's like if you don't keep the same old freaking, you know, the same kind, the same mold as what the rest of these politicians have been. Right. Yeah, people have problems with that. And I'm like, why wouldn't you want to change it up? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I agree. Because they've already sued him for putting a pause on federal aid, right?
Yeah, I think the judge sided with the people that were suing, you know. Right. And I don't know what kind of federal aid was he trying to stop, because I don't think it was like everything, because
it was.
Here's the rumor that was going around, and this is one of our our politicians, you know, AOC, and her bright ass gets on X and says that he was stopping Social Security payments, and it's not true.
No, because somebody explained it. They didn't explain what it was, but they explained what it wasn't, and apparently it wasn't gonna affect like citizen payments.
No, yeah,
you know, like student aid and shit like that.
Yeah, welfare. I mean, it wasn't going to stop that. It wasn't going to stop, like I said, these Social Security payments that this crazy loon is getting on there on X, broadcasting to all their followers that's what it says, and she has to know, which maybe she don't. She is AOC, but I would think she would know that that's not true before you go running around saying that. And like I said, in her defense, maybe she did believe it. Maybe she's that dumb. She doesn't even know, you know, and it takes a little bit. All you do is get on the freaking White House website and they break down everything for you. And it says it right there that it's not affecting payments like that, but they can't help but spread that shit because Trump did it. You know what I mean? I don't. It's ridiculous.
I like when he was in there arguing with the mayor of LA when they was all in that room together. Yeah. Oh, that was awesome, because it was like face to face, and he's like,
well, and that's when he was, Yeah, and that's when he was trying to tell her that, it's going to take 18, what do you say, 18 months or something to start getting permit. And she's like, no. And he's pointing people out
like,
that said it.
he
That's
told
what
me.
said. That's what he said. Yeah, but it was going back to what you were talking about earlier, Brad, with all the red tape and all the bullshit that goes on. I mean, it's like there's no reason it should take more than 18 hours to approve some shit like that in those emergency situations like that. I remember when we got just devastated down here with Katrina. Our parish was like, look, we ain't worried about all these fucking permits right now. Get your shit back where it needs to be. You know what I mean? Get it back to where it needs to be. We're not worried about all that right now. We'll deal with all that shit later. But you got places like over there in California that want you to jump through all these hoops before you can go back on your property and start trying to take care of it. It's a damn shame.
It is.
Know?
Yeah, because it's like none at all. She didn't. She was just like, no. We're worried about safety. Safety first is what she said. So like, I don't know what 18 months of permits has to do with safety, but it's not like
look. And because she was talking about, things burning, and Trump's like, there's nothing left to burn.
It's all burnt.
Like, let them people go start taking care of their property, And she had no defense besides to say, no, that's not true. It's not going to take that long. And it's like, well, can you guarantee that? Because that's what he's telling me. That's what he's telling me. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like everything's computerized. What the fuck takes that long now? It's a click of a goddamn button. We're not filling out cards with fucking pen and paper that people have to read, every single one of to issue a permit. Like you check some boxes, fucking fill out your name and click submit, and the computer knows instantly.
Good evening, Mama Bear. Welcome. It's been a while since we've seen you on here, but yeah, you're right. It should not take that long because you shouldn't even have to go through all that. I mean, there should be nothing.
You shouldn't have to, but
just if you're a city person or anybody that's in any authority position, you're riding around, you're seeing people working on their property, leave them the fuck alone. It's that easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or stop and say, hey, is everything good here? Y'all good? Or if you see them doing something that's just totally stupid and dangerous, say, hey, look, you may not want to do that like that. This is how I would advise it. But let them people fix their shit. You know what I mean? And I will say, when that shit happened down here, at least they gave us that right. We were able to get back into our homes. As soon as the water went down, we were all able to get back and assess what was going on, get to work. There was no government standing over your local government, at least saying, no, you can't do this without a permit. I mean, you just don't, that's not right. You don't do that.
When the tornado came through, I was at my cousin's helping her boyfriend. They had a tree that fell on the house, one fell in the road, and so I go over there, chainsaw. They've got chainsaws. We're cutting stuff down. The mayor of Slidell showed up with a chainsaw and started helping us cut the tree off his house. Started helping us move shit, and
that's why you want to live in a red area right there.
Yeah,
I mean, right there. That's why, because that's how we do it. It's common sense every now and then takes over. You know what I mean? You got a whole city that's devastated, like Los Angeles, and they're still sitting over there saying, well, you don't have a permit to get out there, and it's still a little dangerous. And it's like, shut the fuck up, man.
The mayor's out there helping us cut shit off of power lines, and he's like, all right, y'all be safe. And he left.
Damn right.
That's so true. So true.
That's it. But hey, we don't need all those people in these red areas. Y'all stay in your blue areas.
Yeah, no, what I meant to say was the mayor came over and shut down the operation instantly.
Yeah, you don't want to live around here, I promise you. Stay where you're at.
Yep. And that's the truth.
Let's see. Anything else crazy going on before we get off of here? Besides I don't know, the typical white people suck. So.
White people suck. Yeah. Trump sucks.
Did you ever hear? It has nothing to do with politics, and it's completely
good. I'm tired of bitching about politics.
So, "Arms Wide Open" and "Higher" by Creed, right? Both of those songs were written during sound check in 15 minutes. The guitarist played a riff at sound check.
Stop. So we go bitching about politics to randomness of Creed songs. Is that what we just did? I love that transition, dude. That was amazing. So, all right. So break this down. So they were doing sound checks.
They're at sound check, about to play a show, and then the guitarist hit that, with "Arms Wide Open," like that first
the little riff.
Right. He was like, damn, do that again. And in 15 minutes, the whole song was done at sound check. And they were like, all right, boom, got a new song. Went and recorded it.
Did you know that, Brad?
No.
Now you can say you left this podcast more educated than when you began.
Yep.
That is something. Everybody out there listening, you learn something, and you can take that and spread the word. Let everybody know, because everybody likes Creed. I don't care what they say. I know we heard the songs a million times. I don't really want to hear them again, but they were catchy at the time.
They were, and imagine making the kind of money they've made off of those two songs. 15 minutes of fucking thinking, and it was done.
See, they weren't overthinking. You just don't overthink it, man. Like, don't
overthink anything.
Who said that though? That sounds like something Theo Vaughn said. Is it true?
No, it's true. Okay. I googled it because I heard it on a podcast, and I was like, "There's no fucking way, dude." I was like, "There's no way." Yeah, exactly. And then I looked it up, and sure enough, you can just Google "How was With Arms Wide Open written," and it'll pull up a whole article.
The song might start playing. I don't want to hear.
Probably will.
Yeah. So what else you got, dude? What else you got that you can teach the masses out there?
I hate the phrase violently ill because it just sounds like you're seeking attention. And it's like, we get it, bro. Like, fucking, that irks it grinds my gears, bro.
Justin don't like violently ill.
And they're violent. So. I ate this food and I got violently ill. We get it, bro. You shit yourself. Like, calm the fuck down. Nobody's trying to show you attention. Fuck off, like violently fucking ill.
Have some sympathy for the diarrhea, man. God. Let's see what else is going on in the news, Brad? What you got? Anything good?
I really don't, man. I think we covered everything.
Oh, we did, but we bitched about everything under the sun tonight. My God, we're gonna have to come back next Tuesday and just have nothing but positivity with rainbows and unicorns. Hey, let's live the life of a leftist. Everything's just fantasy, and we're all just we're all gonna get along, and
let's do that. Next podcast, it'll be positive, and like you said, unicorns and then fucking umbrellas and fucking pride flags. I think we're in, dude. I think that's what we need to do next time, dude. Yeah,
it's not as fun, but
it really isn't, dude. But yeah, I mean,
let me see. Hold on. Plane carrying illegal aliens lands in Colombia from the U.S. Some of the illegals who were deported warn others not to go to the U.S. because they're deporting everyone, and they've sent the army to the border. So now, see, word starts to spread.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, other ones are telling other ones, hey, don't go over there,
They were telling them the same thing. The ones that were crossing back across the southern border, were telling people heading to the border, like, turn around.
So they passing each other, like, hey, where y'all going?
No, don't go.
Like, where you going, Holmes? We supposed to go that way. And they're like, no.
Oh, that Trump, man.
Trump sending them. See, and look how fast that was. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's another thing that this government could have been doing had they wanted to. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, Lord, what do we got? Lady Gaga will fight for the LGBTQ plus community amid new Trump administration. She's going to fight for them. Good for her. What are you fighting for?
I don't know what I mean? She's always looked like she was part of it. Like,
but it's
she looked like a man.
What are we fighting for with the LGBTQ community? If you're fighting for them, what exactly are we fighting for? Like, I'm just curious what rights and all they don't have right now.
I saw a trans man, I don't know. It was a chick with a beard, but and she was saying that she lost her rights to use the bathroom.
Oh, well, good.
So
good. No matter how much of a controversial that is, good. I mean, you shouldn't be in there. No parent should have to worry about their child sitting there, especially their girl child in the bathroom trying to use it, and some guy walks in with his dick hanging out going to piss. I mean, they shouldn't even be put in a position like that. So good, they can go somewhere with that bullshit.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at it again. People, President Biden never took Medicaid away from 78 million Americans. Donald Trump just did it. And it's God. No, that's not what happened.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. Everybody just can't wait to be the first to get out there and say some negative shit about the other side, whether it's true or not. It's crazy.
You seen all that? Have you seen the trend of it's like liberal teachers and shit, and they're like, if ICE thinks they're just gonna march in here and take these kids or whatever from front of me, they got another thing coming. They're gonna see the fight in me, and it's like, okay.
I did see that. They a lot of the teachers were saying that they were gonna, I guess, harbor them. I don't know what you.
They're saying they're gonna swing on the ICE agents. Like, please punch an ICE agent in the face. I want to see it.
Yeah, Mama Bear was asking if we saw the new press secretary. She is awesome. We love her. And I saw that how they're letting the podcasters apply for the press badges. I told them we were going to apply, and they're going to laugh at
We
us.
are. Yeah, we are. We
Be
need
like,
to do it.
no, y'all curse a little too much.
Be
Sorry.
like, Trump, look how we talk about you, dude.
Yeah, Trump's got a potty mouth too.
Yes,
He
he
likes.
does.
Let's see. But shit, he went on Rogan. Rogan gets pretty nasty. What else? What else is going on? Anything important? Have we done enough to change the world tonight?
Oh, we've changed the world. Every time we get on, we change the
That's what I
world.
want to know,
dog.
if we've done our part to change this world and make this world a better place. That's all I'm concerned with. If y'all think we've accomplished that, then we can just go ahead and cut it off. Well, we can retire. I mean, I'm good. I just want to leave my mark in this world.
Google complies with Trump executive orders changing names of geographical landmarks.
So, is it the Gulf of America?
Gulf of America, and it was the Alaskan mountain range. It was called something else. Let me see what the mountain range is called.
Brad knows. Brad, what did they change?
It was Mount McKinley to
Yes.
Mount Denali, and then he
Yeah.
wants to go back to Mount McKinley.
Yeah, so he signed that order and the Gulf of America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mount B.S.ing would have been better, but I'll take it.
Paul would. Yeah, we'll take
I'll
it.
take
dude.
it. Mm,
You know.
Gulf of America. What's everybody
God.
doing out there?
America.
YouTube, how y'all doing? Any kind of hot button topics y'all can think of? Anybody watching it? We
Let
done
us
bitched
know.
about we bitched about everything under the sun. I'm sure we forgot something though.
Absolutely.
What else is going on in this crazy ass world? Oh, it's 9:57 over here in the dirty South.
Did you hear the stories about like Russian war generals telling their soldiers? So when they let North Korean soldiers come fight in Russia, they were telling the Russian soldiers that if the North Koreans fired upon them, not to do anything. Basically, like don't shoot back, don't incite
didn't
it.
hear that.
It's like, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck would they? Oh, no,
I guess the North Koreans are just angry little
little. Why they gotta be
like little
What kind of
finger monkeys, dude.
What kind of racist remark is that?
They're just fucking
Absolutely.
Little.
angry little guys.
Oh man, I did.
When I picture North Koreans in my head, they're all like 2'4".
They're not very big people.
They don't seem like it.
No, they're not.
Not enough
Just
protein.
overall.
Yeah.
They don't have big energy.
A lot of the Orientals, though. I mean, they're not. They're just not big people. But hell, they're. It's like you go like to Japan. I think they all lived like 140. I mean, they've got a hell of a life. You know what I
Seems
mean?
that way, huh?
They're in shape. There's not a lot of obesity running around. I'm thinking
No.
maybe we need to start kind of following what they do over there, because some of them people they got a good longevity, and like I said, they're not all out of shape.
They
Jose,
still have like
Jose's on.
Jose.
Said, "Viva my president, Donald J. Trump." Jose Ramos.
Yes.
Jose, don't get rounded up, brother. Hide. Don't let them get you, Jose. You come to my house.
y'all remember that story a while back of that dude that was in the apartment and he was on Reddit talking about how he could hear like Jewish dances happening under his first floor apartment.
Yeah.
And then it was like true after everybody called him crazy.
I remember.
I feel like it's gonna be like fiestas under the apartment.
There's gonna be secret fiestas going on.
Yeah, dude.
They're gonna ask.
I hear
You're
a
gonna start
mariachi band under my
you're
fucking
gonna start hearing
apartment.
the maracas. Like, what in the? That's true. I'm gonna go to them, man. Them people can cook.
Hey,
I'm there, dude.
Tacos.
Tequila and tacos.
dude,
I'm
I'm
there.
telling you.
That is all they eat, right? Tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's stop the blatant racism. I'm not here for all that. No, they love us, man. The Mexican people love us. We love them. El Trumpo. And Jose's excited. Well, that's good. Anytime you got Jose in here going, Viva. Viva my president, Donald Trump. That's good. What else going on before we get off? I'm scrolling, nothing. And that's about it. All right. It is 10 o'clock. Let's wrap it up. BSing with the guys. We appreciate y'all checking us out. And hell, we'll be back here every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Y'all make sure if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it. We really do appreciate it. You know, all the good stuff, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see y'all in a week unless something crazy happens. We'll get back on here, but it will be every Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Y'all tune in. We'll be here to talk some more shit. We appreciate y'all watching, and we are out of here.
Buy some merch, man. Jesus.